I love a good time lapse. They're awesome. They're simple, you don't need much, you just need a camera and a tripod and you can shoot a decent time lapse. The problem is that when I look online and see what people post, I've realized that I'm thinking to myself, these people are missing a key point to what makes a great time lapse. Most people shooting a time lapse seem to have forgotten or don't realize that you're actually shooting a movie frame by frame. Instead, they're thinking of it as shooting single photos, stitching them together into a moving picture, which is kind of the same thing, but still there are fundamental differences between shooting a time-lapse where you just think about stitching photos together or shooting a time-lapse where you're actually thinking about shooting a movie. And that's what we're gonna change now. And the reason I want you guys to go out and shoot a time-lapse thinking of it like you're shooting a movie is because there are rules in movie making that when you put them to use, you're actually shooting the magic word cinematic or cinematically. You're making your time lapse more cinematic. And the rules, there are many of those. And we're going to focus on one rule today, which is the 180 rule. So what is the 180 rule? Simply enough, just think of it as if you're shooting a movie at 25 or 24 frames per second, your shutter speed should be twice of that. Right? By doing that, you're getting natural motion blur, natural motion blur that will fit the movie. So if I do like this and I freeze frame that, you're gonna see my hand is blurry. When you have that natural motion blur, it's gonna look more cinematic. And that is more pleasing to the eye, and therefore it's going to be more of a pleasing time lapse. But what do people do when they go out and shoot a time lapse? They crank that wheel up to 2,000th of a second, 4,000th of a second, because it's the middle of the day, it's bright outside. You need to expose the frame correctly, you need to let in less light. So that means when you make that into a movie and you play it back at 25 frames per second, the shutter speed is 2,000th of a second. That is so far away from the cinematic rules, it's not pleasing to the eye. It hurts my eyes. So let's say I go outside, I bring my camera and a lens, and I set it up like most people do. I set a frame like always, and I, for one, like a place where a lot is happening because we're trying to show that time is moving by or passing by. Then I put up my camera and I put it into time-lapse mode and I expose the picture to where I want it and I start shooting. And the light you see today, it's very bright. So I'm shooting at a 2,000th of a second shutter speed, and I'm making this into a 25 frames per second time lapse. And it looks like this. Kill me. Now, often when using a time-lapse in a movie, you're actually speeding it up. So instead of it being a 15 or 10 second long time-lapse, it's something like this. My eyes are burning. Why are we shooting time lapses like this? Guys, we need to stop this. It's over. Now, I want to shoot this time lapse again, but this time I'm gonna make it cinematic. Oh damn, it's gonna be cinematic. So I'm gonna put that shutter speed at 1/50th of a second. How do I do that without overexposing the picture when, for the other time lapse, the first time lapse, I had to expose it at 1/2000th of a second? Well, the simple thing would be to just wait until nighttime or later in the day, but that's not simple. I'm here now. I'm gonna shoot this time lapse now. So I cannot wait until later. So the fastest way to fix this is to use ND filter. And this is actually a variable ND filter. It's probably not too easy to see right now, but it goes from pretty dark to pretty damn dark. It says here. Now it's on pretty dark and oh, that's pretty damn dark. So I slide that onto the camera. I expose the picture again, and now as you can see, the shutter speed is 1/50th of a second, and everything else is the same. Shoot the time lapse. I wait and I wait, and then this is the result. Look at it. Like, there are things like I said, I would recommend shooting later in the day because the lighting is better, but it's so much better straight away because you get more motion blur. I really like to show that time is flying by. So now that we learned that a time lapse should be more like a movie, let's do something that a movie can't do. What if we shoot a time lapse where the playback is 24 frames per second, but each frame is 1 to 3 seconds long? This is where the magic happens. Like, just by doing simple things, we have made what was a boring, jarring, knife to the eye time lapse into something that's actually passable as a really good time lapse. I like it. So now you know. Now you can go ahead and shoot a time lapse. Buy yourself cheap ND filter. Buy one on eBay. That's where I started. I would not recommend buying a variable ND filter on eBay unless you have to, because they are often from 1 stop until 10 stops ND filters, and you'll get the famous super vignetting or color distortions or the X. Oh, I love that one. Go ahead and shoot time lapses. Shoot them at night. Do whatever, but increase that shutter speed and at least go to the 180 rule, if not more. I recommend going even higher, like, I don't know, lower. Have a long shutter speed, like, it's awesome. Okay guys, so that's it for this one. I hope you learned something and good luck shooting out there. I hope you smash it. I hope you shoot insane time lapses and become famous and rich for it. Tag me on Instagram if you do. You owe me money, dude. Remember to hit that like button and smash the subscribe and everything, and follow me on OnlyFans and Instagram and Twitter. I don't even have an account on Twitter. Like me on Tinder. Do whatever you gotta do. I love it. I love the support. See ya. Passing through, like, good luck out there, guys. I really love it if you smash that like button, hit the subscribe to my OnlyFans, do whatever. I'm everywhere.